There is a mystery hidden from the eyes of the world, a mystery so profound that even many of God's people pass by without seeing it, and yet it has been there from the beginning, woven into the very fabric of the divine purpose. It is the mystery of the mark, not the mark of man, not the symbol stamped upon the flesh, but the hidden mark placed by the Eternal upon those he has chosen, a mark not seen with the eyes of flesh, but discerned in the realm of the Spirit. Only the chosen bear it. Only those called by the Most High carry its weight and its glory. From the moment you were called, from the moment you first turned your heart toward Him, you were sealed with a mark. The world around you could not see it, your friends could not perceive it, even you yourself may not have known it was there, but in the unseen realm it was established, the angels witnessed it, the enemy saw it and trembled. For it is not a light thing to be chosen, it is not a casual thing to bear the mark of the King. The mark signifies that your life is no longer your own. You have been set apart, consecrated, separated from the common, and appointed for the purposes of heaven. In the days of ancient Israel, there was one who carried a visible mark, the high priest. On his forehead was a gold plate engraved with the words, Kadosh Le'ev, holy unto the Lord. It was a declaration to all who beheld him that he belonged not to the world, but to God. But that was only a shadow, for now the true high priest has come, and the veil has been torn. The marks are no longer worn upon the forehead, but are engraved upon the hearts of his people. They are not marks of gold, but marks of fire, the fire of his Spirit. And yet this mark comes not with earthly glory, but often with struggle, with trial, with the feeling of being set apart even from those around you. The chosen are not always the strongest, the wisest, or the most esteemed. In fact, it is often the weak, the broken, the overlooked who bear the mark most deeply. For God does not call the qualified, He qualifies the called. Moses stood before the burning bush, trembling, unable to speak, feeling utterly inadequate, yet the mark was upon him. Gideon hid in the winepress, convinced of his smallness, yet the mark was upon him. David was dismissed by his own father, left in the fields with the sheep, yet the mark was upon him. Jeremiah cried out, I am only a youth, yet the mark was upon him. Even Peter, who denied his master with cursing, bore the mark that would one day lead him to strengthen his brethren. And Paul, with a thorn in his flesh that would not depart, bore the mark that would turn his weakness into strength. The world tells you that to be chosen is to be perfect, to have no struggle, to walk in constant victory. But that is not the pattern of God. The mark is not found in the absence of struggle, but in the endurance through it. The mark is revealed when everything seems to fall apart, yet you still hold on to Him. It is when you are weak, but you still rise. It is when you are broken, but you still believe. It is when you are wounded, but you still worship. Do not think, my friend, that your feelings of inadequacy disqualify you. They are often the very evidence that you have been called. The enemy would whisper in your ear, you are too broken, too sinful, too weak. But I tell you this night, that is the voice of the accuser. For the blood of the Lamb has silenced him. The one who has called you knew your weakness before he called you. He chose you not despite your weakness, but through it that his power might be made perfect in you. And so, when you feel the storm raging within the doubts, the fears, the sorrows, do not think you are outside his will. You are being refined, purified, sanctified for a greater purpose. The hidden mark is not given in the palace, but in the wilderness. It is not revealed in comfort, but in surrender, and it is in that surrender that you will find the secret of overcoming every negative feeling. For those whom He marks, He also carries. Those whom He seals, He also upholds. You bear the hidden mark of the chosen. That is why you feel the battle so fiercely. That is why the enemy fights so hard against you. But greater is He who is within you than he who is in the world. You are not forgotten, you are not forsaken, you are His. Shall I continue with key point 2 in the same tone and depth? The world tells you that to be blessed means to live a life free of sorrow, untouched by the shadow of pain. But I tell you, the ways of God are not the ways of man. The path of the chosen is not the path of ease. It is the narrow road, the road of refinement, the road that passes through the valley of shadow. And it is there, in the midst of darkness, that one of the greatest mysteries unfolds. The trial of darkness is itself a mark of the chosen. You see, the chosen are not immune to negative feelings. They are not spared from the struggles of the soul. On the contrary, they often know those battles more deeply than others, because they are being refined for a higher calling. The trials, the heaviness, the tears, the nights when you feel forsaken, these are not signs of abandonment. They are signs of consecration. They are the fire that purifies, the storm that strengthens, the pressure that shapes you into the vessel, fit for the master's purpose. Consider the goldsmith. How does he purify the gold? He places it into the fire. The flame burns hot, consuming the impurities, separating the dross from the precious. The gold itself does not cry out for the fire, but the fire comes because the gold is destined for something higher. And so it is with you. The fire is not your enemy. The trial is not your destruction. The storm is not your undoing. They are the very instruments by which God is preparing you. The chosen are not marked by the absence of negative feelings, but by what happens in the midst of them. The one who is not chosen may run from the trial, may turn back at the first sign of pain, but the chosen endures, and even when they fall, they rise again. Even when their strength is gone, they cry out to the one who gives strength. Even when their hearts are breaking, they lift their eyes to the hills from where their help comes. Look at Joseph. He was mocked from his youth. The dreams were given, but before the fulfillment came the pit, the betrayal, the prison. He bore the mark of the chosen not when he stood in Pharaoh's palace, but when he was forgotten in the dungeon. In that place of darkness his faith was tested, and his heart was refined. Look at Job. Stripped of everything, sitting in ashes, covered in sores, surrounded by the voices of accusation and despair, and yet, though he could not see the purpose, though his heart was overwhelmed, though his soul was crushed, he said, "Though he slay me, yet will I trust him." That is the mark. Look at the Messiah himself, the Holy One, the Sinless One. In Gethsemane he wept, his soul was in anguish, his sweat like drops of blood, and yet he yielded to the Father's will. He bore the greatest mark of all, the mark of surrender in the face of unspeakable darkness. And so, when you find yourself overwhelmed by negative feelings, when sorrow presses upon your chest, when fear whispers its lies, when doubt clouds your mind, do not think you are abandoned. You are being tested because you are chosen. The enemy seeks to use your pain to turn you from your calling, but God uses it to strengthen your calling. The very trial that seems designed to destroy you becomes the instrument by which he will raise you up. The darkness has a purpose. The storm is not without end. The fire is not forever. And what will remain after the fire is the pure gold of your faith. For the chosen are not destroyed by the trial, they are forged by it. The enemy may strike, but every blow allowed is turned by the hand of God to accomplish what the enemy could never foresee. What was meant for evil is turned for good. What was meant for your fall becomes the stepping stone to your rising. Do not be afraid of the trial. Do not despise the dark night. Do not run from the refining fire, for in these things the hidden mark is revealed. The one who endures will come forth shining, reflecting the glory of the one who called you. You are not in the trial because you are forgotten. You are in the trial because you are chosen. Shall I now proceed to key point 3, in the same style and flow? There is a secret that the world does not understand, a mystery that belongs only to the chosen. It is the mystery of exchange. The world says you must fight against sorrow with your own strength, battle fear with your own courage, overcome darkness with your own light. But the chosen know that this is not the way of the kingdom. In the kingdom, weakness is not the end, it is the beginning. Brokenness is not defeat, it is the doorway, and emptiness is not abandonment. It is the place where the greatest exchange can take place. For the chosen know this secret. That which is surrendered is that which is transformed. That which is laid down is that which is lifted up. That which dies is that which will live again. The way up is down. The way to victory is not to resist in the power of the flesh, but to yield to the hand of the Most High. The world says hold on. The kingdom says let go. The world says preserve your life. The kingdom says lose your life, and you will find it. When you feel crushed beneath the weight of fear, when sorrow grips your soul, when anger rises like a flood, when despair clouds your vision, this is the moment of exchange. It is the moment where you do not hold on to the burden, but you bring it to the altar. You lay it down, you release it into his hands, and in that surrender the exchange takes place. Isaiah spoke of it long ago, to appoint unto them that mourn in Zion, to give unto them beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness. Do you see it? Ashes for beauty, mourning for joy, heaviness for praise. It is not simply that he takes away the sorrow. It is that he replaces it. He exchanges it. But the exchange can only happen when you bring the ashes. You must bring the mourning. You must bring the heaviness. You must bring the brokenness. The chosen are not those who are free of these things, but those who know where to bring them. The widow of Zarephath brought her last bit of oil and flour, expecting death. But in her surrender came provision. The boy brought 5 loaves and 2 fish, utterly insufficient for the multitude, but in his surrender came multiplication. Abraham brought Isaac, the son of the promise, to the altar. But in his surrender came the covenant fulfilled. The exchange comes not by withholding, but by offering. Even the Messiah himself walked this path. In Gethsemane he prayed, Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me. The sorrow was real, the anguish deep. But then came the surrender, nevertheless, not my will, but yours be done. And in that surrender, the greatest exchange in history was accomplished. He bore our sin that we might receive his righteousness. He took our death that we might receive his life. He entered our darkness that we might live in his light. This is the way of the chosen. This is the path you are called to walk. When the negative feelings rise up, fear, sorrow, anger, despair, you do not deny them. You do not pretend they are not there. You bring them to the altar. You offer them up. And as you release them, the divine exchange is set in motion. What you surrender becomes what he transforms. Your weakness becomes his strength. Your sorrow becomes his joy. Your mourning becomes his dance. Your chains become his freedom. And your death becomes his resurrection life. The world will never understand this, because it lives by the power of the flesh. But you have been marked for something higher. You have been sealed for the mystery of the exchange. And each time you surrender, each time you yield what burdens you, each time you lay it down at his feet, you step deeper into that mystery. You are transformed more into his likeness, and you overcome not by your might, not by your strength, but by his Spirit. The enemy seeks to weigh you down with burdens you were never meant to carry, but the chosen know the secret. You are not called to carry the burden, you are called to cast it. You are not called to fix the storm, you are called to rest in the one who commands the winds and waves. You are not called to overcome in your own strength. You are called to yield to the one who has already overcome. And when you do, the exchange will happen, and you will rise, and the mark upon you will shine all the brighter. And what was once your greatest weakness will become his greatest testimony. Shall I continue now with key point 4 in the same voice and flow? There is a victory, my friend, but it is not the victory the world proclaims. The world looks for victories that can be measured, counted, displayed for all to see, but the victory of the chosen is not like that. The victory of the chosen is hidden, quiet, often unseen by the eyes of man, yet mighty in the courts of heaven. The world may never recognize it, but all of heaven bears witness to it. It is the victory of the hidden life. The world boasts of its strength, its achievements, its triumph. But the chosen are marked by a different kind of triumph, the triumph of endurance, the triumph of faith when everything else has been stripped away. The chosen are not always standing in the spotlight. More often, they are found in the secret place, on their knees, in tears, in silence, clinging to the promise, refusing to let go, even when there is no visible evidence that the promise will come. That is the victory of the hidden life. You see, the true battle is not the one that others see. It is the one that takes place in the unseen chambers of your soul. It is in the quiet hours when no one is watching, when the voices of doubt rise up, when fear whispers its lies, when sorrow threatens to drown your hope, and yet you hold on. The battle is fought in the midnight hour, when your pillow is soaked with tears, and yet you lift your heart to heaven and say, "Still I will trust you." That is the victory. When the world sees failure, God sees perseverance. When the world sees brokenness, God sees surrender. When the world sees a life hidden and obscure, God sees a vessel prepared for glory. The greatest victories are often the ones that happen in the secret place. The prayer whispered in the dark, the worship offered in the storm, the decision to believe when every circumstance screams the opposite, these are victories of eternal weight. Look at Elijah. After calling down fire from heaven, he found himself running, hiding, sitting under a tree, crying out, "It is enough, Lord." Yet even in his weariness he was still marked. In the hidden cave, the still small voice met him. The world saw the fire, God saw the whisper. The world saw the mountaintop, God saw the cave, and in that hidden place the victory was sealed. Look at Hannah. Year after year she went up to the house of the Lord, pouring out her soul, weeping in bitterness, misunderstood even by the priest. But her silent cries reached the throne of heaven. No one saw her private battle, but God did, and out of her hidden victory came the birth of a prophet who would change a nation. Even the Messiah, the very Son of God, lived much of his life in obscurity. For 30 years he lived in the quiet town of Nazareth, unseen, uncelebrated, unknown by the world. But every moment was preparation, every moment was obedience, every moment was victory in the hidden life. And when the hour came, he walked the path of sacrifice, not in the applause of men, but in the agony of Gethsemane and the pain of Calvary. And from that hidden suffering came the greatest victory of all. You who are chosen, do not despise your hidden battles. Do not think you are failing because the world does not see your fight. Do not believe the lie that your tears are wasted, your prayers unheard, your struggle meaningless. Every tear is counted, every prayer is recorded, every act of faith is witnessed by the one who sees all things. The enemy wants you to believe that your hidden struggles disqualify you, but I tell you, they qualify you. The victory of the chosen is not always the open triumph, but the secret overcoming. It is the quiet trust that says, "Though I do not see, yet I believe." It is the hidden surrender that says, "Though I feel weak, yet I will worship." It is the daily dying that leads to resurrection life. And one day, my friend, what has been done in secret will be revealed in glory. What was fought in the hidden chambers of your heart will shine in the light of eternity. The applause of men fades, but the reward of the Father endures forever. The hidden victories will one day be proclaimed before angels and nations, and you will hear the words that outweigh every struggle, every tear, every hidden battle. "Well done, good and faithful servant."